Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into some pretty wild theories about alien visitation, but we're going to objectively unpack them using real, hard astrophysics. You know, scientists generally agree that our best shot at finding alien life is on planets similar to ours, but what happens when the descriptions of those extraterrestrials sound, well, a little too familiar? Today, we're stripping away all the myths, we're looking purely at the physics behind ancient astronaut theories, and we're going to explore how the very laws of our universe might actually provide a framework for these incredible claims.
Okay, let's kick things off with a massive paradigm shift. Instead of looking out into the deep, dark void for extraterrestrials, what if, and just hear me out on this, what if the humanoid beings people keep reporting are actually humans from our own future? Think about it. Observers and ancient astronaut theorists have pointed out a really surprising conclusion based on one simple fact. Alien descriptions almost always resemble human beings. I mean, they've got 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. It's a very, very specific biological layout.
And that observation brings us to a totally fascinating thought experiment. Researcher Nick Pope makes a great point here. He notes that because these descriptions are remarkably humanoid, it sparks this crazy idea that we might just be looking at our own time-traveling descendants. As Pope suggests, perhaps these aren't creatures from some distant star system at all, but rather time travelers just dropping in from, say, the year 2720.
So let's play this out a bit further. Let's do a little 10,000-year thought experiment. Imagine for a second that it's 10,000 years from now. Humanity has survived, but our biology has evolved, maybe tweaking our physical appearance to look a lot like the classic alien grays that pop up in modern lore. Now, in this future, we've actually pulled it off. We've invented an H.G. Wells-style time machine. So we decide we want to come back, study our ancestors, and see exactly where we came from. We can jump backward, we can jump forward. It entirely reframes the whole ancient astronaut theory from a question of where are they from to a question of when are they from.
Now, what's genuinely wild about this is that the roadmap for this isn't just pure science fiction. No way. Albert Einstein actually anchored the necessary laws of physics for this decades ago. Back in 1905, he published his theory of special relativity. Then, fast forward to 1935, alongside Nathan Rosen, he proposed the existence of wormholes. These aren't just fun fantasy concepts from movies. They are literally the bedrock of modern physics, pointing straight toward that hypothetical visit in the year 2720. Time travel, at its core, is real physics.
Let me break down exactly how this works. According to special relativity, which, by the way, is a fundamental law of physics that holds true anywhere in the universe, time actually slows down for an object as it approaches the speed of light. So what does this mean for us? It means if flesh and blood humans traveled close enough to the speed of light, they could theoretically reach the year 3000 in just a couple of years of their own perceived time. They'd cross massive cosmic distances and barely age compared to the folks back on their home planet. When they finally return, hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years could have passed here on Earth.
But here's the catch. We hit a massive, universal roadblock when we try to apply this to our current capabilities. That roadblock? Mass. Because a physical spacecraft actually has mass, it theoretically can never reach the exact speed of light required for these ultimate time-bending effects. Even just getting close requires a completely unimaginable amount of energy. So this resulting drop in speed dramatically increases the amount of time you'd need to actually cross the vast distances of the universe.
And this brings us to a harsh reality check. 70,000. Using our modern current propulsion methods, the chemical rockets we build today, it would take an agonizing 70,000 years just to reach the nearest star. Basically, any object we can currently fling out of our solar system is going to take tens of thousands of years to get anywhere meaningful. That completely shatters the idea of using our current level of technology for any sort of interstellar visitation. It's just not happening.
To put that into perspective, 0.01% is a tiny, incredibly humbling number. Our fastest, most advanced rockets are totally puny on a cosmic scale. I mean, they max out at a pathetic 0.01% of the speed of light, and that's if we're really lucky. At that snail's pace, traversing the galaxy, let alone the universe, is quite literally a mathematical impossibility within a single human lifespan.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that if extraterrestrials or future humans are visiting us, they definitely aren't using our pathetic rockets. If they're getting here, they're finding entirely different ways to do it. Commentator George Norrie suggests they must be bypassing the cosmic speed limit entirely by utilizing what we can call a cosmic shortcut: wormholes. They aren't traveling the tedious way we go out into space. They've developed a completely new form of propulsion that allows them to move instantaneously throughout the universe.
Let's visualize exactly how that works, because physicist Michael Dennin explains the Einstein-Rosen wormhole perfectly.
Picture space as a giant flat sheet of paper. If you want to get from one side of the paper to the other, you don't slowly drag your finger across that vast distance. Instead, you just bend the sheet completely in half and you connect the two pieces together to bridge the gap. You're literally warping space to cut corners instantaneously. You aren't traveling faster than the speed of light. You're just bypassing the distance entirely.
To build a more familiar picture for you, think of it less like flying incredibly fast through linear space, kind of like they do in Star Trek with warp speed, and much more about jumping instantly from solar system to solar system through hyperspace, exactly like they do in Star Wars. You literally pop into a wormhole and boom, you are there in no time at all. It's a total game changer.
Physicist Paul Davies takes this mind-bending concept a step further. He theorizes that if a super-advanced civilization could harvest a naturally occurring primordial wormhole, one created way back during the Big Bang, they could actually adapt its structure. Think about it. If you can have a stabilized wormhole in space, it can, in principle, be turned into a working time machine. This would allow a civilization to travel instantly backward and forward in time, effortlessly bridging both space and history.
Discovering how to artificially create or successfully harvest these structures would completely change the game for us. It would infinitely expand our galactic range. By bending space and time, it massively increases the likelihood of having two distant civilizations existing at the same time with the right technology to actually communicate with each other. It completely removes the massive barriers of deep time and deep space.
But as we consider who might actually possess this kind of technology, we really need to keep our cosmic perspective in check. Our solar system is only about 4.6 billion years old. Sure, that sounds ancient to us, but compared to the rest of the universe, which clocks in at nearly 14 billion years old, we are incredibly young. We're the new kids on the block. That leaves over 9 billion years of history where older civilizations in other galaxies could have been evolving, learning, and mastering physics long before Earth even formed.
Which brings us to a pretty humbling thought from author David Childress. He warns us not to treat humanity as the absolute pinnacle of creation. In fact, he argues that it's the height of human arrogance to assume that just because we currently can't bend space-time or travel from star to star, a civilization billions of years older than ours can't do it either. I mean, they could easily possess the physics-bending technology that we are only just beginning to mathematically theorize on chalkboards.
So, I'll leave you with a final question to ponder. Are we ready to accept that our own technological limits don't define the universe? As we stare up at the night sky trying to apply our modern physics to ancient mysteries, isn't it time we admit that the limits of our puny rockets are absolutely not the limits of the cosmos? Whether they're advanced beings from a galaxy billions of years older than ours, or humans from the year 2720 using primordial wormholes, the physics allows for the possibility. We just have to expand our minds enough to understand